Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing Batgirl Rising. Take a look at this comic cover right here. Now, Batgirl Rising is part of the Batman Reborn series, seeing that is a relaunch of the Batgirl title. However, Cassandra Cain is not Batgirl in this story, but rather it is Stephanie Brown, formerly known as Spoiler and as Robin. Now, before I actually get into the story itself, I want to talk about Stephanie Brown becoming Batgirl. Now, in my own opinion, my own personal opinion, you guys do not have to agree with this, but I think Stephanie Brown becoming Batgirl was a very good idea on DC's part. Now, see, I've always liked Batgirl as a character. I've always found her as a unique character in the DC universe. Barbara Gordon was a fantastic Batgirl. Definitely probably the best Batgirl there has been. She's really set the standards for every other Batgirl, being the Batgirl of the Silver and the Bronze Age. Betty from the Golden Age, I really don't count her because she's not really Batgirl anymore, so I don't count her. But Cassandra Cain was a fun character, an interesting character. But see, the problem I've had with Cassandra Cain is this. Despite how fun and interesting Cassandra could be, she didn't come off as a good Batgirl. She came off as a good, interesting character, but she didn't fit the role of Batgirl, at least in my opinion. Now, before you jump on me and say, well, Andrew, shame on you. You probably never read anything with Cassandra Cain and Batgirl. No, that's not really the case. I've actually been reading Cassandra as Batgirl in her ongoing series. I have not completed it yet, but I am reading through it right now. And I have to say, it's fun, and she is a fun character with some uniqueness to her. I really do like the character of Cassandra Cain, but I would not have picked her to be Batgirl any more than I would have picked Wonder Woman to be Batgirl. I mean, it just doesn't feel right. She just doesn't fit the status quo that is Batgirl. So, with that said, I'm happy that Stephanie Brown is Batgirl for two big reasons. One is because Stephanie Brown's been a character that has evolved over the years. She started off as a very minor supporting character on Robin and evolved into almost essential part to the Batman family. I mean, she went from being Spoiler to being Robin and now being Batgirl. So she's really evolved throughout the years. And in that, the second reason is also Stephanie Brown at this point in time is probably the closest thing that you're ever going to get to Barbara Gordon as Batgirl without actually Barbara becoming Batgirl. Which would be really weird because Barbara's in her mid to late 20s, and to be called Batgirl when, never mind, she would be more Batwoman. But anyway, she's the closest thing you're going to get as Barbara Gordon as Batgirl. There's a lot of similarities between them too. I mean, for one, they're really kind of outside the Bat family. They don't really take orders from Batman. I mean, Barbara Gordon, when she was Batgirl, she didn't follow Batman's lead. She may have worked with Batman once in a while and worked with Robin once in a while, but she did things her own way. She was her own boss. Same thing with Stephanie Brown. When she was Spoiler, she did things her own way. She was her own boss. Yes, she did take Batman's orders when she was Robin, but that's besides the point. Stephanie Brown goes by her own rules, similar to what Barbara did. They're both very lighthearted and upbeat characters, which is a complete change from Cassandra Cain, who was borderline emo-depressive. I mean, Barbara and Stephanie are both very lighthearted and optimistic and really see the glass half full rather than half empty. They're both very intellectual individuals, too. And they have a very strong thirst for justice. They don't feel obligated to do this for any reason other than the fact that it is the right thing to do. They don't have some trauma at childhood or live up to some kind of feeling to help out Batman. No, they do this because it's the right thing to do. They're also older than their respective Robins. Stephanie's older than Tim, and Barbara was older than Dick. So there's a lot of similarities in the characters. So in that, you're going to get Barbara Gordon, or a little bit of Barbara Gordon in Stephanie Brown, and the two complement each other because you find that they're really the two main characters in this. As much as this is Stephanie Brown's book as Batgirl, Barbara Gordon is just as much as the main character in this. So with that said, let's get into the story itself. There's really kind of two stories in this, a total of 7 issues. The first 4 issues deal with the development of Stephanie becoming Batgirl. Now, she doesn't become Batgirl right away. Sure, she puts on the suit, but she doesn't become Batgirl right away. She has to learn that putting on the suit's one thing, but actually being Batgirl is another thing. Now, you're probably wondering, how did Stephanie Brown become Batgirl? Cassandra Cain basically says to her after teaming up with Spoiler that she dedicated herself to Bruce, not to the Bat. And seeing that Bruce is gone, there's no reason for her to stay around. So she throws her costume design in, Stephanie picks it up. Stephanie goes around and does vigilante work, but finds that she's stepping on a lot of toes, Oracle's being one of them. Barbara Gordon really doesn't like the fact that Stephanie Brown is going around as Batgirl, for personal reasons, but also because Oracle's at a bad place in her life for a few reasons. However, reluctantly, Oracle teams up with Batgirl, and the two find that they have very much in common and that they complement each other a lot. So the first story deals with that, and the main villain in the first story is kind of Scarecrow, although they go on a few miscellaneous cases. The second story is a little bit slower paced, but it deals with Batgirl meeting up with Batman and Robin. And you find that there is a lot more chemistry here between Barbara and also Stephanie. You also see a little bit of chemistry between Robin and Batgirl, which is actually pretty fun because, Batgirl puts Robin in his place a lot, and it was enjoyable, especially when I just don't want to reveal too much to you guys. This story deals with the main villain being Roulette, but there's also a lot of other villains showing up, like Roxy Rocket and Dr. Phosphorus, and who else? Riot, I believe his name is. So there's a few other villains that show up in this, and Batgirl gets a brand new suit, which looks pretty badass. And if you notice the suit here, it complements her Spoiler suit while also complementing the original Silver Age Batgirl suit. If you notice, it looks like Barbara Gordon's suit with some Spoiler adaptations, like the purple on the side. You notice on her legs she has the pouches there, like Spoiler did. So you notice there's some complements to her Spoiler suit. So the story itself is basically her finding herself as Batgirl and then her getting accepted into the Bat family, going up with various different villains. Now onto the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. Well, like I said before, Stephanie Brown is a character that's really evolved. And the funny thing is the only thing I've ever had against Stephanie Brown is her cursive, her inner dialogue. I hate inner dialogue or anything in comics done with cursive. It's not because cursive is bad, it's just it slowers the pace of the comic a bit. And I'm glad that they don't have Stephanie Brown using cursive anymore for her inner dialogue. Thank you, Jesus. And anyone else out there. The fact of the matter remains is, Stephanie Brown is a great character. She's an evolved character, and she's the perfect choice for a Batgirl in this. Second thing is, I like the fact that this is very much a Barbara Gordon / Stephanie Brown title. It really pays homage to Barbara Gordon as a character being the original Batgirl for this continuity, but also really helps have a good supporting character for Stephanie Brown, which is kind of a bad thing to say because, like I said before, Barbara Gordon isn't really supporting, but more or less the main character also. They work kind of as a team. So, really it should be called Batgirl and Oracle, but let's just stick with Batgirl. I like the tension between Batgirl and Robin. I thought that was played out good. And the fight between Scarecrow was pretty nice. It was one of the few good encounters with Scarecrow in the past few years, because Scarecrow's been kind of pushed down the hill and said, fuck you, no one gives a shit about you. And he kind of had a badass confrontation with Batgirl in this. I like the fact that they use a lot of C-level characters to villains in this, and they actually use them in a cool way. I like also how Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson and how they talk with each other and how they have their dialogue with each other. It almost seems as though they're the father and the mother, the parents of the Bat family now that Bruce is gone. It feels like they're in charge. So it has a cool feeling in that. The action is good. I love the new look for Batgirl, so that's also good. Bad. Well, the first story was really nice. I thought it had a good pace. It was fast-paced. The second story was still good, but it was a slower pace, and it really didn't pick up until the last issue. Mostly because it did a lot of undercover work or work when she was in college, trying to find out what this kid's dad doing and all that junk. And it slowed down the pace a bit. So we had pretty good pace for the first 4 issues, and then the pace slowed down, which is a little bit of disappointment. So that is one thing. Second thing is that they really didn't utilize villains to their full potential in the second story either. Yes, the villains showed up, but it was really more or less a thing between Batgirl getting accepted rather than being a story between a good guy and a bad guy, which we got in the first story, which actually could do both. Her becoming Batgirl and also her going up against a villain. rather where the second story is her being accepted into the bad villain family and then having some villains around. It would have been nicer if we had a little bit stronger use of the villains. They're not really showed up until the last issue. So that's another weak point too. On the whole, whether or not you should get it. The other thing is that with the Batman Reborn series, a lot of the Batman books right now coming out, all of them are really good. It's really hard to say if any of them are bad. I mean, The Outsiders have been good, Batwoman has been really good, Red Robin has been good, Batman and Robin has been good, Gotham Sirens has been good, Gotham Streets has been good, and I want to say Batgirl has been really good too. I would definitely put this up there with Batwoman and Batman and Robin as some of the best in the series. It's definitely better than Red Robin. I would even say it's possibly better than Gotham Sirens. It's hard to tell. I mean, this is a fun new take on the character. We got a fresh new character coming into the role as Batgirl. It's fun, and I'm really excited to see what comes after this. Like I said, the only real problem is that there's a little bit slower pace towards the end of this, but if you're looking to start over with Batgirl, if you're looking to get into Batgirl and you don't want to go through all the trouble of picking up Cassandra Cain, or even Barbara Gordon stuff, then I recommend picking up this, because this is fun, this is enjoyable, and it's definitely part of the ever-growing, great Batman Reborn series. And like I said, it's really hard to say there's anything bad in the Batman Reborn series, because all of it has been pretty good. I am actually very happy with the Bat books right now, more so than I've been in a few years. Not to say the Bat books have been bad, but it's just that everything is good in here. So, with that said, Batgirl, Batgirl Rising, I recommend picking it up if you have any interest in the character, because it's a good series. If you have interest in Stephanie Brown, interest in Oracle, or if you have interest in Batgirl in general. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.